Welcome to my weekly self-important Magic the Gathering show. This is the start of another series. This series will be on vehicle decks. I like vehicles. I think they're neat. Vehicle decks are probably bad, if we're being honest. And the first question I'm going to ask myself, how many vehicles should a deck have so that you can actually call it a vehicle deck? We're in a 100 card format where 37, in my case, of those cards are lands. One card is your commander. And then you kind of would like, ramp, unless you're playing full fair Magic, some removal to stay competitive, card draw to get through your deck quicker. So I feel like maybe, just maybe, vehicle decks are locked to bracket 1, and then we can be forgiven for not having as many of those utility things as we might need. The first thing we'll go through is the first commander I'm going to do. Normally I start with the fewest colors and work my way up to rainbow. But I feel like Rainbow is going to give us a lot of touchstones for all of the fewer color decks. So we're going to start with all 5. Our commander is the backside of Essica, God of the Tree. We're not even going to read her. So the Prismatic Bridge, that's why the name of this deck is Rainbow Road. Ha 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 ha. It's a Mario Kart reference. I don't know if Mario Kart is referencing the Rainbow Bridge from Norse mythology. That had a name that I would totally be able to pronounce if I saw it in words. It's just a Bifrost, isn't it? Yes. At least that's what I vaguely recall it being called in the Marvel movies, and I hope that's correct. But at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature or planeswalker card. Put that card into the battlefield and the rest of the bottom of your library in random order. You might notice that this does not help us find our vehicles. That's fine. It helps us find the people who drive the vehicles. And considering that we're probably going to have more vehicles than drivers, we do want something that brings out the drivers. Next, we have lands. I have separated them into separate groups for now, just to kind of show what lands I put in. So I have all 10 of the triomes. Those are the ones that have basic land types, specifically 3, tri, and then they cycle. So there were 5 in Streets of New Campina, and 5 in Ikoria Lair of the Beast? I think it was Lair of the Beast. Will this tell us? Lair of Behemoths. I was close. And then we have the precursors of the triomes, the Tri-lands. 5 of them came out in Shards of Alara, and the other 5 came out in Khans of Tarkir. They don't have basic land types, and they don't cycle. All 10 of those come into play tapped, and that's another, I feel, a bracket 1 jail facet. Then we have the layers, just because I like them. So that's another 5. Let's see. This is just me looking at something that I never bothered to look at before. So that is Bant. That's a shard from Alara. Which one is it? Nope. Obviously not that. No, obviously not that. Nope. Oh, it was the Seaside Citadel the whole time. And then it is also one of the triomes. Is it Ketria? No. Must be Indatha. Nope, I'm wrong again. Bant. Oh, wait. Nope. Not Jetmir. Oh, Spyra. Oh, who were these people? I was wrong a lot, and now I don't remember the name of Spyra's faction on Streets of New Capenna. Uh, they were the lawyers, though, weren't they? I don't remember. Streets of New Capenna wasn't very memorable. And then over here we just have our Omni lands, which we have the World Tree. The important part is that as long as we have 5 other lands besides this one, all of our lands tap for any color. Plaza of Heroes can tap for a mana of any color to cast legendary spells, or tap of any color among legendary permanents you control, and our commander is all 5. And then this is Reflecting Pool. I just liked that it had a rainbow in it, so I picked this one from Lord of the Rings. So it's mana of any type that a land that you control could produce. Exotic Orchard. That's a mana of any color that an opponent's lands can produce. And then, of course, the Rainbow Command Tower. And then the artifact, and then the lands that care about artifacts. We have the one that taps for the number of artifacts we control. The one where we can pay a life to add a mana of any color as long as we control an artifact. This one can only spend mana of any color on artifacts or artifact abilities. Mildly interesting. Mech Hanger. Mana of any color only for pilot or vehicle spells, but also this thing can pilot can crew a vehicle by paying 3 in addition to tapping this. Glimmer Void, mana of any color, but if we don't control any artifacts, it goes away. This thing can make a token copy of another artifact or enchantment we control, except the copy is legendary. It's such an mildly interesting ability. And then, of course, Academy Ruins to get our graveyards back from our discard pile. So that's all of those. So now that I've explained them all, I am just going to put them back in the same pile. Just to save space. Let's see. Okay, so now we should start looking for stuff. What I'm going to look for first, see, and this is me looking up the lands, is I'm going to go T Legend, T Creature, O Vehicle. Because we're going to look up. I put O Vehicle. What does she do? Oh, unimportant. Vehicles we control have crew 1. That's important. Vehicles we control have +1/+1 vigilance and reach. This can turn non-land permanents into vehicles, but I don't think that's super important. This can tutor up a vehicle. This makes our vehicles cheaper and can get one back from our discard pile. This can also get them back to the discard pile. But it straight into play, but it also puts it back into our hand. Oh, Dr. Eggman can allow us to play vehicles for free, or our opponents discard cards. You know, I don't like making my opponents discard cards, but this time they have the but with this they have the option not to. This steals stuff, so I don't want that. Until on turn, target non-creature artifact you control becomes an artifact creature and gains flying. If it's not a vehicle, oh, this thing can crew vehicles. This person. I don't think DePaula is that good. It makes our other dwarves bigger. It makes our vehicles bigger as long as they're a creature. And when we tap her, we can pay X to look at so many cards from our library and to put all dwarf and vehicle cards from into our hand and the rest of the bottom. Maybe not. This one is mounts and vehicles you control have haste. That's good enough. And then you get one free pilot. Vehicles you control have crew 2. That's not as good as this guy up here, but that is still an improvement. Also gives one thing lifelink and vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, untap each other artifact creature you control. I think that'll untap all of our vehicles, so we can crew them again. That seems worth it. I think I'm going to go for like 15. No. Maybe, but not right now. Vehicles we control have flying. That's always nice. Whenever a vehicle we control enters, draw a card if it has flying. And it gets a flying counter if it doesn't. So thank you. So hello, Miles. Your tails per hour. You're coming in. As long as it's our turn, mountains vehicles have hexproof. We'll come back for that. Setzer can theoretically give us treasure. Draws us cards for casting them. And the reason why I went with only legends is because since it's Rainbow Road, I didn't want to put any non-legendary creatures in the deck. Even if there's going to be maybe we can we'll do only non-legendary vehicle, or do only legendary vehicles as well. That's an idea. So we're gonna move everything over into creatures. See how many I put in there. Oh, maybe 20 creatures and 20 rides. Well, that's 14, so that's already that's less than what I wanted. So we can go back in. Okay, this thing can recur itself when we deal damage with vehicles. That's something to think about. Okay, we have room for you. We have room for you. It free casts vehicles. It's basically a worse version of another card. I think it's called Elvish Piper, which I also think there's another one whose name I don't remember. Oh, what do you do? Whenever they attack and mill 3 cards, you may put an artifact, creature card, or vehicle card from among them into your hand. Oh, well, I'm not doing that. Also, it's 3 black pips, even though I have a lot of fixing built into my land. She rates now, because she can theoretically get us more of our vehicles, theoretically. Draw a card, discard a card. Actually, you know what? This does kind of have synergy with different stuff that recur our vehicles from our discard pile. So she rates. And I think I know what the other two are going to be. Because So in here we have the commander for this deck, 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 the commander for this deck. Yep, the commander for that deck, and that one, and that one. But not this one because it's Captain Rex Nebula. But we don't have the commanders for these two. So I think I will add them just to kind of like add all of the other ones except for Rex Nebula. He's not appearing in this one because he kind of does different things with his vehicle deck. And then okay, so now that I have them all in, we're going to check for versions. So, Dr. Eggman, at the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Oh, I forgot about that part. That's cool. Then each opponent faces a villainous choice. They either discard a card, which we don't want them to do, but we're not coercing them into drawing a card because that's that part. Because they don't have to discard a card if they don't want to. Or you may put a construct, robot, or vehicle card from your hand onto the battlefield. That's the thing we want to do. He doesn't have his own deck in this area because we did the thing with the constructs. I mean, we could give him his own vehicle deck if I wanted to, but I might not want to. But now that I remember he exists, he might get his own deck. Ovia, Automech Artisan. Each creature that's attacking one of your opponents has trample. That's a nice bonus. Because it's not just our creatures, it's anyone who's attacking one of our opponents. And then we can pay green and tap her to put a creature or vehicle. So that does, I guess that makes it even better. Sorry. I thought it was worse because I thought it was only vehicle. Reading the card, huh? From your hand onto the battlefield. If it's an artifact on the battlefield, it gets 2+1/+1 counters, so that's nice. Oh, and I forgot. Nope. I was about to think that I forgot to check for versions, but the first one was Eggman, who was already a version. Mu Yangling, Wind Rider. When she enters, we get a 3/2 colorless vehicle artifact token with crew 1. So she comes with her own vehicle. Which I guess this boat is a 3/2. That's the only thing that makes sense. Vehicles we control have flying. And then one or more creatures you control with flying deal combat damage to a player. Draw a card. Neat. Oh, whoops, I forgot to do it. So we grab this one because that other one is hard to look at. Kykar, Wind's Fury. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, which vehicles are, we get a 1/1 white spirit creature with flying. And then we can sacrifice spirits for red mana. So Kykar has a deck because it makes its own drivers. And then this one because it shows like the red elemental spirit that he brings to the party. Then Katsumasa, the animator, flying. You can pay 2 and a blue until the end of turn. Target non-creature artifact you control becomes an artifact creature and gains flying. So, that's always nice. If it is not a vehicle, it has base power and toughness 1/1 until end of turn. So, that's not great to not use it on a vehicle. But hey, you can make these little garbage 1/1s if you really need it. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 counter on up to 3 target non-creature artifacts. Oh, neat. So you can make your... you can either make your artifacts that you plan on turning into vehicles bigger when they're vehicles, or you can make your vehicles bigger. Neato. Then we have Caradora, Heart of Alakria. When they enter, we search our library for a mount or vehicle. We may search our library for a mount or vehicle, put it into our hand. And then if one or more +1/+1 counters will be put on a creature or vehicle you control, it gets an additional one. I'm not entirely sure that'll ever matter. Boy, that's a lot to look at. Yeah, let's just do the normal one. I don't... Astor, Bearer of Blades. When they enter the battlefield, look at the top 7 cards of your library. Reveal an equipment or vehicle and put it into your hand. The rest on the bottom of your library in random order. Equipment's equipped for 1, vehicles, crew for 1. Well, hey, look, some neat stained glass. Alela, Artful Provocateur. Flying Death Touch Lifelink, that's nice. Other creatures you control with flying get +1/+0. That's neat with some of the other things we've seen. Whenever you cast an artifact or enchantment spell, which vehicles are one of those 2 things, we get a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying. You know, pilots. And I already know I like that frame. Setzer, Wandering Gambler. When they enter, we get the Blackjack, a legendary 3/3 colorless artifact token with flying and crew 2. And then whenever a vehicle we control deals combat damage to player, flip a coin. Whenever we win a coin flip, create 2 tap treasure tokens. So we may or may not get... So he gambles on the races. Miles tails per hour. Whenever a vehicle you control enters, draw a card if it has flying. Otherwise, put a flying counter on it. So we have a lot of ways to make sure our vehicles fly. Mary Reed and Anne Bonny. Haste. Tap, draw a card, discard a card. Whenever you discard an island, pirate, or vehicle card, we get a treasure. And as I said, since we have recursion... Hold on. Gerg. Sorry for any sounds. I had like one of those weird ear itches that was also like slightly connected to your throat. And then we're going to grab that. But yeah, since we have a non-zero number of things that can pull stuff out of our discard pile, that's good. Lita, Mechanical Engineer, Vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, untap each other artifact creature you control. So if we have things that can crew them, untapping all of our vehicles, because they're still artifact creatures, because we can have this go off first, untap them, and then they stop being creatures. Drinking some water. Don't mind me. Then we can pay a lot of mana and tap her to create a 5/5 colorless vehicle artifact token named Zeppelin with flying and crew 3. Absolutely fine. Never had any other treatments. Then we have Kotori, Pilot Prodigy. Vehicles you control have crew 2, not as good as the other one, but hey, whatever. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target artifact you control gains lifelink and vigilance in the turn. That's nice. Greasefang, the Okiba boss. At the beginning of combat on your turn, return target vehicle card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Return that to its owner's hand at the beginning of your next end step. And then I like the anime waifu that makes her kind of look like Ratchet from Rescue Rangers. Depala, Pilot Exemplar. Other dwarves are +1/+1. Vehicles are +1/+1 when they're creatures. And then when she becomes tapped for any reason, you can pay X. If you do, reel the top X cards of your library. All dwarves and vehicles go to your hand. Everything else is randomly put on the bottom of your library. Oh, I like this Secret Lair version. Makes her look more dwarven, and decided that she had a darker skin tone, which is interesting. Hold on. All printings. Where is she from? Oh, considering where she's from, yeah, the darker skin makes sense. Hold on. Just having another ear day. Yeah. No, if she's from the Kaladesh Desert world, this version of her makes way more sense. Yeah, she's definitely not, like, dwarven enough for this one, because they're supposed to be, like, stout and muscular if you, you know, stereotype your dwarves. Balthier and Fran, they have reach, because Balthier has a bow. I mean, not Balthier. Fran, well, he has a gun and she has a bow. Gotta love Final Fantasy X. 12, sorry. Vehicles you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance and reach. Neat. Whenever a vehicle crewed by Balthier and Fran this turn attacks, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, you can pay 1 red-green to get another combat phase. Though, notice, it doesn't untap anything. So that's not entirely helpful, but it is interesting. So you can attack with that crewed vehicle, kind of scope things out, then, you know, pay this, and then do a second wave with different stuff. I like that. And then I just like the way things are drawn better on this one, so that's where we're going. SRAM draws us a card whenever we cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle. But lo and behold, it's not SRAM, it's Furion, Swordmaster from Final Fantasy II. Then we have Sid, Free Flyer Pilot. Equipment and vehicles cost 1 less. During our turn, he flies. And then we can pay 2 and tap to return equipment or vehicle from our graveyard to our hand. There's like all kinds of other things we can put in here. Like all of the cards that say artifact spells cost less. And in fact, if we were going to do ramp, I would go in that direction. But we'll get to that when we get to that, and then we're back to the God of the Tree. So that's all 20 of our creatures. So now we're going to do 20... oh, actually, we can save a lot of time by just doing that. So let's do our legendary vehicles. Already... minus set bot so they don't show up. Let's see. We could put in Asika's Chariot because it technically makes more pilots for us, but it's not very big. The Gatebreaker, the Heart of Kirin. Nope, we don't have any planeswalkers, so that's not happening. Jackdaw is mildly interesting, especially if you're me, who's not good at keeping cards in hand. Whenever Jackdaw deals combat damage to a player, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw a card for each artifact you control. Crew 3. Not sure I actually want that. Parhelion 2. I'm going to read this right here. Flying, First Strike, Vigilance. A kind of a big ask at 8, but we could always see, like, the dream is discarding it with the Pirates and then getting it back with Greasefang. Whenever it attacks, we get some Angels. But it's Flying, First Strike, Vigilance. That's important. And then, because it's funny, we're going to do the... I'm going to say Hot Wheels, but, like, it could also be Matchbox 20 or any of those any imitators of those two toy lines. The RMS Titanic explodes into treasures. Shorakai can be a commander. This was before they changed the rules. Shorakai is no longer special. So, we can pay 1 and tap to draw 2 cards and discard a card, and then we can create a pilot. That is power... That is a 1/1, but cruise vehicles as if it had 3 power. I went this long and I realized I never said what crew is. So vehicles are not creatures unless they're crewed. To crew them, you tap any number of creatures as long, whose total power is equal to the crew cost, and then it becomes a vehicle, and then becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. So it's like station, but temporary. But the numbers are usually smaller. Let's see. Whenever a Silvering Console flagship enters the battlefield or attacks, It lightning bolts creatures or players, and it has native flying, so that can come in. And oh, but it's actually the Vulture from I believe this is a 40k secret layer. Just by the way things, because I think this belongs to orcs. So we'll put that in. Then the belligerent says, when the belligerent attacks, create a treasure token. Until the end of turn, you may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. Just looking over here. Aha. So like that is card draw-y, that's removal-ish. That's what we're looking at. Then the Falcon, Airship Restored. Whenever the Falcon deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, so this gets our pilots back. It also is flying, and also it can return itself from our graveyard to the battlefield, so that's all kinds of helpful. Then we have the Indomitable. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. This also has Trample. You may cast the Indomitable from your graveyard as long as you control 3 or more tapped pirates and/or vehicles. So it also has a way to bring it itself back in the type of deck that we are playing. Last ride. The Lunar Whale, as long as it attacks, we can play stuff off the top of our library. And then I don't think it had... Yep. The Prima Vista, I don't know what you do. This cruise, if we play big artifact spells, not going to worry about that. The Pridewind Steel Flagship. Whenever another non-token artifact enters under your control, you get a Knight. For how much it costs, it's not as good as other things that are in its cost. But we're getting the Regalia, because this is the good version of this effect. When it attacks, reveals the top card of your library until you reveal a land card, and that goes into the battlefield. Yes, we want that. We want that 100%. I don't know if it's a rogue piece of earwax or one of the hairs on my head is messing with me by crawling into my ear for some reason. Man, that's annoying. The Weatherlight, but not this version. This actually is very interesting for this. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a historic card from among them and put it into your hand. So that's a legendary creature, sagas, artifacts. They don't have to be legendary. But Miles is in here, so Tornado Sonic's Biplane kind of gets put in here. And that's funny. Wow, there are other things I expected to see, but I'm like, oh wait, they're probably not legendary. So how many did... well, let's see how many we got. That only got us to 8. While I'm sticking to my guns on legendary creatures, at least for now, looking here, there's only 25. And one of these is a land that we have to turn into this thing. And then... Oh, well, we're not putting like any of the doctors, so it'd be someone stealing that ship. I think we're definitely gonna do some non-legendary vehicles, because like the only other one that I'm even tempted to put in is the Pridewind, but I already know that there's better stuff. So we go to the top. We minus T. I don't know why I did that. That was dumb. Minus T Legend. So 12 more vehicles. That's draw than discard. We don't care about that. That gets us land if someone else has more lands than us. But it's basic plains, which we don't have any. Scratching my hand. The cargo ship is ramp since there's a lot of also is flying and vigilance. It has ramp for our artifact spells. That's probably fine. We can always take it out later. It's a clown car. That thing's funny. Now I have the hiccups. This thing gets us 3 life and lightning bolts all of our opponents. It's a gold, darn it. Oh, the deluxe dragster allows us to take instants and sorcerers out of our opponent's graveyard. I'm down with that. You know I don't like stealing stuff except for unless it's out of the graveyard. I don't want it unless you've already thrown it away. Oh, this one, the demonic junker. That's actually good. When this enters, for each opponent or for each player, destroy up to 1 target creature that player controls. If a creature we controlled was destroyed, this thing gets 2+1/+1 counters. And it has affinity for artifacts. That helps. There's a couple of things I'm looking for specifically. Oh, this thing's neat, but then I saw how much it costs, and I'm like, oh, that's less neat. Because it's a tutor. Hull Drifter will draw some cards, but... Oh, the Mech Titan Core, because that's funny as heck. Because we get, so what happens is that we can exile this and 4 other artifact creatures and or vehicles to create a 10/10 flying vigilance trample lifelink haste thing. And then when that token leaves, we get everything but the core back. So that's fun. As long as we crew it with at least 2 things, we get to draw 2 cards. So that's cool. It's also a 6/6 for 3, as long as we can crew it. And they have to discard a card if they want to target it. That's their choice. We're not forcing them to do it. That untaps something else. That's a garbage version of the Regalia. This we can pay to crew another vehicle without having to tap any creatures. Oh, we are definitely doing this silly toy thing, even though that does not look anything like how it looks in any of its other arts. Nautiloid steals stuff out of the graveyard. Prodigy's Prototype. Whenever one or more vehicles you control attack, we get pilots. So that's a nice way to get more creatures. We only get one no matter how many we attack with, but still. Oh, I think I missed something. Hold on. There it is. When it gets crewed, something else also gets crewed. That's economical. When this thing attacks, it deals. It has protection from mana value 3 or less, which is an honest thing that you got to worry about. And then, whenever it attacks, it deals 5 damage to each opponent. And I don't think. Yep, nope. The Rolling Hamsphere. When this deals damage to a player or planeswalker, we draw a card. Some of these might come back out because I don't know how high we're going. I haven't kept track of what's been going in this deck. Oh, the Velocipede lets our other stuff enter with additional +1/+1 counters. Or even more if it's expensive, which is silly, but, you know, that's... Let's see. The Thunderhawk gunship creates a couple of things to pilot stuff with, but also makes all of our stuff fly when it attacks. Don't even know why I checked. I should have known better. There is another one that I know I skipped over. I just don't remember. Oh, Salvation Engine. There we go. Whenever this vehicle attacks, return up to 1 target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's crew 6, but, you know. It's the exact kind of recursion that we'd want. Huh, we only went 1 over. I imagine the other side of the Parhelion tells us what it does, and I just now noticed that this does not tell. Like, if we're... That's just not good for knowing what stuff does. Especially if you play over the internet like I do. Actually, the Velocipede is... Oh, no, that's creatures, too. So that means our creatures can crew better. I do like this art better than the original art. There is this one. So what are we at, actually? We're at 79. Actually, I might be fine with 21. But we're going to put some other stuff in here. There's specifically 3 things, not the one, well, it's 4, I forgot. The Mechanaut, the Sculptor, the Foundry Inspector, and the Quick Welder. I don't think I want the Shimmer Mirror or Liberator. Or Gandalf. Memnon lets us cast artifacts from the top of our library. So does the Mystic Forge. But I don't think we're going to Mystic Forge. So that's 3 more pieces. That's 4 more pieces of ramp. We're just going to put those over into creatures. So now we have 24 creatures and 21 artifacts. Now we're at 83. And this is where we ask: do we stay in full PowerPoint presentation mode, or do we add some? Well, we do have some things that count as removal, and I think that's the direction we go. Is just stay completely focused on vehicles and things that can crew vehicles, and notice that we are not playing at instant speed right now. Unless we play the things, you know what, let's put in Gandalf the White, and the Battlethopter, and Memnon, and the Shimmer Mirror. And Slow Bad. He'll junk our vehicles if we need mana. Especially if we think we're going to get them back in the future. Karn can give us a lot of mana. Wait, the Shimmer Mirror isn't legendary. Oh wait, no, we already put in some non-legendaries. I already broke my rule because I wanted these things. Karn can give us mana based on the number of artifacts we have, but that mana can only be used for artifact spells, so he can step in this poop or whatever he's doing. I am going to scratch my back. So now we're going to look for the things that care that when we've cast an artifact spell. not going to Madison Lee. Oh, Edgar lets us cast artifacts from our graveyard. They enter tapped, but they still enter. This is Investigate. We're not going to bother with that. This can let us copy, but that costs extra. I'm not too worried about that. This spacecraft. I am going to further separate things for the record. So now we're at 31. Okay, so now I kind of do want... Oh, actually, you know what? We are going to... Oh, I just put a... Hold on. Oh, it went into artifacts. That's fine then. Yeah, let's put in some spacecraft. The Dawnsire, because that thing's funny. That's the one that when we get it up to 10, it deals 100 damage to any target creature or planeswalker when we attack. And then if we get 20 on it, it's a 20/20 with flying. There is the Infinite Guideline Station that can make us a bunch of robots. So sure. That thing destroys non-creatures. This gives our other artifacts hexproof and indestructible. This will deal 10 damage to a creature when it enters. This pulls a thing out of our graveyard. Oh, this makes tapped legendaries indestructible. That's kind of handy. This deals damage equal to the number of artifacts we control to a creature an opponent controls. We have so many artifacts. Oh, wow, we're at 99. And we have 30 artifacts and 31 creatures. So the last thing is going to be an artifact, just so it's an even amount. Technically, we have one more creature, but that's not the side that's coming down. Yeah, this whole deck is silly, but I do like what we did because we went to heck with it. We're not putting in any mana rocks. We're not putting in any instants or sorceries. It's just creatures, vehicles, and vehicle analogs. So one more. I don't think there was another... There was technically another one, but it said each opponent sacrifices... Oh, it says non-token. Sorry, I'm just thinking... Oh, whenever the spacecraft attacks, you can put a creature from your hand onto the battlefield. No. The Eternity Elevator? Nah. It's not a creature. That's the problem with it. I found myself reading stuff that's already in the deck going, oh, that would be good. Oh, it's already in the deck. I mean, I guess technically this is a good way to get free creatures if they're already in our hand. So I guess we're going to go there. There we go. That was the last thing. Oh, my back itches again. 31 artifacts, 31 creatures, 1 commander, 37... Oh, whoops. Select... Whoops, nope, that's not what I meant to do. This... We're going to edit the category to... Race tracks. Is that one word, actually? It'll tell me. Yeah, we'll just call that section racetracks. And then we're just gonna go through this again because we got time. We're just gonna go through this and appreciate what went into this deck. That doesn't have another version that I like. I'm glad that I'm sometimes able to remember. Yeah, okay, so I didn't read this guy fully. Once during each of your turns, you may cast an artifact spell from your graveyard. If you cast a spell this way, it enters the battlefield tapped. So, you know, it can't be piloted right away because you have to rebuild it. And then whenever he attacks, it gets plus X plus O until the turn where X is the greatest mana value of an artifact you control. That's neat. Probably not going to do it a whole lot. Artifacts are 1 cheaper to cast. Sacrifice an artifact, gain an amount of red equal to its mana value. But it can only be spent on artifacts or activating the ability of artifacts, which we don't have a whole lot of artifacts with abilities that we need to activate, but still, that's a thing. We'll do this slow bad. We could probably trade them out for something else. Cast artifacts as flash. This has cast artifacts at flash speed, but also if you cast an artifact whose mana value is greater than Urza's, the Liberator's power, Liberator gets a +1/+1 counter. This makes artifacts cheaper. Oh, now that's surprising. I know he has better pictures than that one. Get a nice close-up of his, oh, you all know the actor. Morgan Freeman. His Morgan Freeman face. Ethereum Sculptor makes artifacts cheaper. Enthusiastic Mechanaut makes artifacts cheaper and is an artifact themselves. Extinguisher Battleship, as I said, destroys non-creature permanents. That's still better than nothing. This is the one that deals 10 damage to a creature when it enters. This returns a thing from our graveyard straight to the battlefield. That's good. And Infinite Guideline Station, I'll read this one all the way through. When Infinite Guideline Station enters, create a tapped 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token for each multicolored permanent you control. That'll at least be 1 with our commander out. This is the one that deals 100 damage. Man, imagine... Oh my goodness. Okay, so we definitely want to get this thing to full creature mode, even though that makes it more vulnerable to removal. But remember that other guy that gives things lifelink? Does it give artifact creatures lifelink, or does it specifically have a vehicle? Now we have to back out of here. We have to find who it was that did it. Wasn't you, was it? No. It was one of the creatures with white in it. Oh, it's this one. It's artifact creature. So now we got to double check. We got to double check station. It is an artifact creature. So yes. We definitely want to get lifelink on this thing. That's funny. That one doesn't have any. That one doesn't have any. This one deals damage to a creature equal to the number of artifacts we control. This is the one that draws us cards when we cast artifact spells, but also later becomes an 08 flyer with +1/+0 for each artifact we control. This one tutors up a legendary. Plus, also our tapped legendaries have indestructible. So if they, if we use them to crew something, which you can crew at instant speed, so that's just some fat protection right there. This one is another way to get free creatures on if we draw them. This one puts +1/+1 counters or charge counters on things. But then our other artifacts also have Hexproof and Indestructible. Not this, just the other things. So this makes our... it's only one thing, so it can either crew our other ships or make a creature. Well, one of our vehicles, because it says artifacts, or one of our artifact creatures that that are in the deck. There we go. Yeah. So what are we at? Wow, that only took in the first hour. Okay. So we are kind of going to leave this up for now. And then instead of doing... I'm going to do something weird, I think. So we're going to look at the next two. So this is Kykar and Alela, and I'm kind of going to work on them somewhat simultaneously to see how that works. Oh, and this is 100% legal, so that's sweet. I do like what we ended up with, even though this is another deck that plays at mostly sorcery speed, unless we get like what, one of 3 cards into play. Just scratching my foot really quick. So Kykar. Actually, I guess I can close this, because what I thought I was going to do with this was use this as a basis for the other decks, and it kind of is. But I'm going to remove it from the window and make it its own window, so you can't see it anymore, but I can pull it up if I need to reference it. So so we're going to do Kykar first. Sorry, just moving my table around. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our pilots first, like last time, and T creature. Like, I know I said Kykar can make pilots, but we still kind of want some built-in creatures. And then O vehicle. Only we put the letters in the correct order. So vehicles we control have flying. Okay. Vehicles we control crew for 1. This is mildly interesting because it can create us pilots equal to the number of vehicles or mounts that enter the battlefield. And those, of course, are 1/1s that mount or crew as if their power were 3. Then we want this. Captain Rex Nebula ain't coming in this deck either. We'll do DePaula again. Giant Ox is tempting, but we're not doing that. Vehicles we control have haste. But it also has this draw 3, discard 2, and this is not a deck where I want to do that in. Katsumasa, of course. Koladin, of course. Miles. Mary Reed and Anne Bonny don't go into this one. We'll put in these two as well. Mu Yang Lin. What does this guy do? Oh, so as long as an artifact creature you control is attacking, prevent all damage that would be dealt to this guy. Okay. Whenever he becomes tapped, we exile the top 6 cards of our library. You may cast a vehicle or artifact creature spell from among them and put the rest on the bottom of your library in order, so that's kind of some card draw. No, SRAM, of course. Oh, it's the blue shell from Mario Kart. We're not putting that in here because it specifically cares about the speed start your engine mechanic, and we're not dealing with that. That's 1,000,000,000%. Oh, yeah, I forgot that I was going to put all of those things in the different vehicles into different categories. You'll see that in the final version if you click the links in the video. I'm not going to do that on the video now because I realize that it's probably going to be super boring. But I am going to put all my creatures into one so I only want 3 more, although I think I'm going to end up adding 4 more, because I think I want the guys that go non-creature spell or artifact spells. So that's this one, this one, this one, and this one. Select all, put you all over here. I could take out one thing and go down to 15 creatures, because this one I'm actually going to try actually I think that the Aeronaut Admiral is the weak link here, because he costs 4 and he doesn't do nearly as much as some of the other ones. So there we go. 15 creatures and like 20 vehicles, and then the rest of it's going to be other stuff. Like actually try to have removal. We'll see where it goes. I'm actually going to do spacecraft again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now that I started counting it, I kind of... Oh, there we go, 10. This does 3... This lightning bolt something. And while I don't think it made it into the other one, it made it into this one. There we go, 10 spacecraft. And then let's see what we got for vehicles. Oh, hold on. Minus set bot again. And then we're going to do an order CMC just. So, because we can go through these low level ones. Like, we still want the cargo ship because it's piece and ramp. Still want the mobilizer mech. I still want the mech Titan core because it amuses me. Silent submersible. Oh, the creature that crew that explored. That didn't make it into the other one, but that's neat. We'll put that in here for now. Oh, this turns into a vehicle. That's funny. We can always take stuff back out after we get everything. Oh, I'm keep confusing myself because I keep forgetting that I put this in CMC order. So I'm like, why didn't I see this thing? Oh, because it hasn't come up yet. Actually, I don't think we're going to show archive because we don't want a discarded card in this deck. Look at this, 4 in a row of stuff I definitely want in the deck. I know Miles is in here, but his this might not make it into it. Stealing out of the discard pile. Salvation Engine. The Thunderhawk, the Reaver Titan, and the Parhelion 2. I think we have way too many. Oh yeah, we have way more than I want. So we have 17, so that's like 7 more than I would like. So let's go through them. I like the Parhelion 2. It's like a flagship. Reaver Titan is a bit of a finisher. Jesus, it's a 10-10. The gunship gives all of our stuff flying. This pulls stuff out of the graveyard. This steals already used instants and sorceries. This makes sure we get lands. This one and the Belligerent on the other side of the Indomitable lets us cast off the top of our library. This draws a card and also can pull itself from the graveyard. Well, it draws us a bunch of cards. The Prototype can make us more pilots. This can draw us cards as long as we crew it with 2 creatures. This we discard our hand and draw cards equal to the number of artifacts we control. I think we'll get rid of this and this. And actually there's a specific one we missed. Oh. The Peace Walker Colossus. Although, actually, I do like it. Oh, wait, no, never mind. I want to take out one more. I think we'll take out the Jackdaw. There. Now we have 15 artifacts, 15 creatures, 10 spacecraft, for what it's worth. The spacecraft, by the way, can crew vehicles once they become creatures, and that's funny. So now we have room for, what is that, 22 things that aren't either of these things? Oh, and we're going to call this just vehicles. V. Keep wanting to put that C way earlier in the word. Oh, I already had a vehicle thing. There we go. Because I had the deck put together, but this was before Edge of Eternities came out, so I took it apart, but I didn't clear my tags, and now I'm rebuilding it for the show, rather than having do the thing where I sometimes show a deck that's already been built. So this one. And you might have saw how I had my land separated just because I was counting how many lands I had of a certain type. That is not what I meant to do. But we're also going to... But the ones that I don't think are pilots, I'm going to call crew. Like the Quick Welder is a crew. Pit Crew. There we go. The Ethereum Sculptor goes over here. The Mechanaut goes over here. The Foundry Inspector goes over here. Edificer is a Pit Crew person. What is he even doing? Is he in a vehicle? I can't tell. Oh wait, no, those are wheels, right? Hold on. Yeah, he's in a vehicle. This is vehicle work. Looks weird. So pilot, Avenger. Oh, engineer. That's crew. Miles does fly a plane for some reason. I feel like Astor is more of a crew than a pilot. The animator also feels more like crew because he doesn't get into the vehicle himself. There we go. Was probably completely pointless, but that's how I feel about it. Anyway, yeah, let's grab T instant O source. Whoops, that was silly. O target O permanent order CMC. So I'm only going to put in the premium premium any permanent or any non-land permanent removal, which is funny because I am now at the point where I'm seeing stuff from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and while like I don't I never watched the show because I didn't care. I'm not saying it's bad, just saying I personally didn't care. I really don't care about it in terms of Magic the Gathering, so this is like two sets in a row for me, even though I'm a fan of Spider-Man. But there's exactly one card so far in the Avatar: The Last Airbender set that I care about, and that is Toph, the Metal Bender one, where all of your non-token artifacts are also lands. They do not gain any ability to tap for mana as a land. They just have the land's type, and they're just artifact lands now. Because that works with her earth bending ability that she has. And that's interesting because it means Toph's artifacts would be immune to all of the removal I'm putting at this portion of the deck. At least the ones that say non-land permanent. And that's interesting to me. Like, you would have to specifically use specific removal that doesn't say non-land on it. See, I don't think I'm going to find anything I care about in this, at this mana value at any rate. Nope, not until we get to 3. We have Wild Magic Surge, but I'm not going to do that because we do have better access. Same with Chaos Warp. We have Generous Gift because it says target permanent. Sure, they get an elephant, but that's fine. There's another one I got to look out for because it's new. Nope, it's not that. It's something here in the 3, and it's a white. It's a white mana. Nope. Emergency Eject. There we go. Destroy target non-land permanent. Its controller gets a lander token, and a lander token is a colorless artifact that does rampant growth, which means it pulls a basic land out of your deck and puts it onto the battlefield tapped. This is brand new from Edge of Eternities, and I need to remember that it exists so I can incorporate it into more decks that have white in it. And what's funny is that there was things I was expecting to see in mana value 4, but then I remembered what colors this deck was, and I'm like, well, I don't know why I thought that I would see those. So we go back to the top, and that is... Oh, that only grabbed 3 pieces of removal. So now I'm going to care about stuff that exiles, because super permanent removal, just in case you run into someone that can get stuff out of their graveyard. So that's Path, Swords, There's going to be Parting Gust coming up. And also Reality Shift. I was planning on saying it before we saw it, but I didn't know it would be so close to Parting Gust. This is kind of just doing a, in case I forgot about something. But I don't think I did. Oh, actually, nope. Yep. Okay, there is going to be one more, I think. Yes. Then it's in the 4 mana value, I'm pretty sure. At least I'm pretty sure it's an exile. Nope. I like the phrase desecrate reality. That is pretty metal. So the thing I'm thinking of is probably in destroy. Or I'm in the wrong colors. I might be in the wrong colors. The thing I'm thinking of might be Mardu and not Jeskai. So Pongify because it's cheap. Rapid Hybridization because it's cheap. Unwanted Remake because it's cheap. And that's 10 pieces of single target removal. So we can have 2 more. Oh, and that would put us at 90. Because I don't think we're going to do ramp or card draw, because I think, I didn't mix up that much in. One, our commander is sort of ramp, and then we did put in things that I did take out some card draw, but we do have card draw in here. So I am going to do 2 more pieces of removal, and then I'm going to do my Mass Disruption, and then whatever's left over is going to be to whatever. Oh, and as for the lands, by the way, it's basically all of the color appropriate lands that you saw in the previous deck. That's why I started with it. And then filling out the rest with the dual lands. Oh, 3 Tree City made into this deck because we can tap it for and name Spirit. Do we say it when it comes into play or when we tap it? Okay, when it comes into play we say Spirit because that's what we would tap it for. And just kind of try to hold on to spirits once we get 3 Tree City out. Anyway, so we can have 2 more. Bovine Intervention is an interesting one. It gives them an Ox, but it's artifact or creature. I'm actually going to jump ahead just to see if I'm triple wrong. You know, where I was right the first time, then thought I was wrong. Nope, I don't see it because it would have been gold because there's 3 colors. So that definitely must have been Mardu. Man, it's mildly tempting to go with the ones that replace them with random stuff from their deck. So 2 more. That was just the part of my back that hurts all the time deciding to hurt all the time. It wasn't that bad, but it was just like I leaned forward and my back was like, you fool. Let's see. I don't think we're going to disenchant. You know what? I think we might just leave it at 10 and just leave those spots empty. And then we're going to call these red shells. We're not going to call them blue shells because that's basically a card that exists. So for my mass disruption, I'm trying to just figure out what I want to call it. I think I'll just call it Thunderbolt. I don't know if that's a spell. So this, we're going to put in my usual bunch. Settle the Wreckage. Aetherize, Aether Spouts, Delayed Blast Fireball, Mizzium Mortars, Heliod's Intervention. I'm just deciding how far down this rabbit hole I want to go. Shattering Spree. And Vandal Blast. And that puts us at 96, so we have 4 spots for other stuff. And this will be another one of those between episodes. I'll fix all the versions. So if you do click on the links, you'll see all the coolness. So 4 more. I'm going to check something really quick. -T enchantment. O token O twice. That's a 0. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna do that dirtiness. So Mondrak, Elspeth, Exalted, but also Ozurtak. And they are Pit Crew. So we have 7 pilots, 12 pieces of pit crew. Does anybody? Maybe the bearer of blades? Nah, because the reason why he's pit crew is that his maintenance on the vehicles is why they're easier to pilot. That puts us exactly at 100 here. So I do like what we did here as well. So I'm going to move that off because I still want to keep track of it. And then I'm going to pull up this window and then this window. So I can add this window to that window. So I can remember to change the versions to make it prettier. That's the whole reason. So now we're on to Alela Artful Provocateur for the final deck of this episode. Once again, it's the color relevant lands. And Alela is a lot like Kykar. It creates us pilots, and also we have the 3-tree city, but this time we would be saying fairy instead of spirit. But let's see what additional pilots we'd want to put in this deck. Oh, yep, we were looking at the land base last time when I was doing my pre-recording searching. Okay, this guy can bring himself back from the graveyard when our vehicles deal combat damage, but I don't care about that. I already decided that this guy really just wasn't good for his mana value because he's only a 3/1. Sid can go in here. Greasefang, of course. Katsumasa to cheat that. Mu Yangling, Miles, the Pilot Prodigy, and Lita. This guy, SRAM. Mildly interesting that the selection didn't feel as good. I'm still not going to put this guy in here. I'll come back for him later. But we are going to grab this one, this one, this one. You. Did we forget you? Hold on. You won't be able to see it, but I'm going back to the other one. Oh, we did forget him in the other one. What would I take out, though? That one had so many... Honestly, I think I would take out... Oh, he's a legendary creature. I didn't even notice that. The Samuel guy. He could go out. Removing stuff once it went into the deck is a lot harder. Like, my 10... Oh yeah, I forgot to rename the removal. Edit category. I'm going to call it Shock Storm. Give it my own silly name. Wow, that is wild. So, yeah, Samuel, just to remind us that as long as an artifact creature you control is attacking, this guy doesn't take combat damage. Oh no, all damage. Jeez, that's nice. And then when he becomes tapped, we can get... Oh, it says you have to cast it right away. Okay, so never mind. He's going out. And now I have to go over here. Which Memnon? Ah, the right hand. And that does put you in the crew. So that one's down to 6 pilots and 13 pit crew. Like, that sounds weird for the deck, but for a racing team, I feel like you would have way more pit crew than you would have drivers. So anyway, Memnon, yep, going in here. Noctis. And then this thing. And we'll put an un here, because there's still some things we're going to grab. Cargo ship, that's for a different section, but like while we're here. There we go. So you go into a new category called Spacecraft. And then you will go into a new category called, which I don't think it's gonna let me. Oh nope, it will. Nope, no it won't. Okay, because I already had it. Because once again, I had a bunch of decks, and I was like, oh wait, no, I need to update them, so I'll do them on the show. So we have 16 creatures. So 1, 2, 3, and then Ozier. Only like, huh? Well, that's mildly interesting, but it's a lot of work. You can get free spells out of it. That's all that I'm going to say. I know there's a non-creature in there. But that's fine. Oh, 20 creatures. So now we're going to get the rest of our spacecraft and the rest of our vehicles. Dawnsire, of course, because it's ridiculous. Extinguisher. Pinnacle, the Rescue. The Serima. How many ships did that get me up to? That's only 6 spaceships. That's because, if we're being honest, the mono black ones didn't seem nearly as helpful as the mono red ones. But we're going to do a double look. Like, that doesn't do anything. That causes us to mill, which I don't want to. Sacrifices non-token creature, not good enough to me. Not for 5 mana. It needs to add the with the greatest something. You know, mana value, power, toughness, among other creatures they control. Yep, this one's only going to be 7 spacecraft. Or whatever the number was. And... oh. I don't know whether if the episode will be up, but we already did a whole lot with Transformers. If that episode ain't up, well, you can look forward to the Transformers episodes. Every time I see Clown Car, I'm like, that can't say Clown Car. And it says Clown Car. And I'm constantly wrong. Because my brain refuses to believe it. Oh, nope, that's... huh. Not helpful because we don't have any armies, but this thing is automatically a vehicle as long as we control an army. That's neat. This might make it into the deck just because of the... might not have a whole lot of good hits. We're doing the stuff I feel is good, and then we're gonna might have to come back. Don't want to forget the Peace Walker Colossus like we did last time. Oh, the Phantom Train is actually kind of good for this one. Because we can sacrifice one of our fairies, so we don't have to sacrifice a real creature. So yeah, let's Phantom Train. The Titan. Salvation Engine, of course. Silent Submersible. Greasefang is in the deck. So Shorokai becomes less of a thing I don't want to do. The Schooner for exploration. Falcon, the Indomitable, the Lunar Whale, the Regalia, Thunderhawk gunship, sure, why not? And then we'll stay right there. Select all. Select all. Select all. That's mildly interesting. Select all. Reselect all. Move everything to vehicles. We have 19 vehicles. Okay, I would like one more vehicle. How many vehicles did the last one have? The last one actually only had 15 vehicles, but it also had, where are the spaceships? 10 spaceships. Though this does make this 25. Oh, that does make it 25, doesn't it? Wait, hold on. Let me do math. The slow, dumb brain way. So 15 and 10 is 25. So that is the same number. So actually, no, I'm going to be happy with that and not have to scramble my brain trying to think of more stuff to put into this deck. No, we're done. We're done with that part because now we're at 83. probably put in more creatures. But let's put in our... oh, that's funny. But we're not going to do that. We're not going to do any of that. So let's put in our single targeted removal. No, let's put in our mass disruption first. Because there's not going to be a whole lot. Settle the wreckage. Aether spouts. Aetherize. Because, like, while I could put in Kindred, destroy everything that's not a fairy type stuff, I don't want to get rid of... I don't want to mess with my 20 creatures, if I'm being quite honest. And then... Heliod's Intervention. So we will edit this to Shockstorm. Just to be our personal term for that effect. Because I don't think that's a magic card. We're just gonna go up here. Yes, Magic Gathering has not made a card called Shockstorm, so that makes me feel good. So T, instant. O, target. O, destroy, order, CMC. So we're going to do it this way instead of the other way this time. Because I already reminded my brain of that card, so I'll be able to spot it on our way down. So we got Rapid Hybridization, Pongify. Oh, Path is Exile, so that's not going to be shown here. Unwanted Remake. There's a lot of stuff in here that we're going to ignore, at least on our first run through. Well, that was a weird song to pop into my head all of a sudden. The Sign by Ace of Base. I guess that is an appropriate song for my single target removal section. It was just weird that it popped into my head. So if we're at G, and I think it means... Yep, I passed it. And I think that's... Oh, no, Void Rend. So I don't think the things from 4 mana value are destroy. I think they are also exile. That reminds me of at least one more thing that could be put in here. But we'll see where we are once we get the exile removal out of the way. Exile. I mean, if I wanted to be pedantic, the red shells are the destroy and the blue shells are the exile. Even though blue shells don't exile you out of the race, but they sure does feel like it. There's Path to Exile. There's Swords to Plowshares. I know I'm at least gonna run into Reality Shift and Parting Gust. And then when we get to 3, there's Anguished Unmaking. And then I don't know if there's anything else in... I don't remember, I should say, if there's anything else in 3. But 4 has Utter End. And that's at least going to get picked out. I mean, there's also Baleful Mastery, because we can let them draw a card and only pay 2 for it. Oh, we're at 101. Oh, this went to 13 anyway. So the thing we would remove is one piece of our one red shell. Right, that's what I put. Right, red shells. Hold on, checking the other one. Yep, plural. So we keep everything at 3. We keep everything at 2, which includes Baleful Mastery. That's non-land permanent. That's non-land permanent. That's actual permanent. That's non-land permanent. Oh, we actually get rid of 2 things. No, we still only get rid of 1. That was super dumb of me, thinking that somehow changed things. Utter End, since it costs 4 mana, even though it exiles. Void Rend does require us to have all 3 of our color pips out. Oh wait, no, I only had to get rid of 1, sorry. Yeah, we'll get rid of the one that is the most expensive. So that's how we ended up. 20 creatures, 13 red shells, 6 spacecraft, 4 shock storms, and 19 vehicles. So I'm just going to remove that, because I still got to make that and Kykar's deck pretty. I can actually close the Rainbow Road now, I think. Actually, no, I'll keep it open because I'll probably like use it for something next week. So next week we're going to start. Oh no, that's interesting. All we have left are all of these are 2-color decks until we get down to here, and that's mono blue vehicles. I'm just going to preview who mono blue vehicles is. It's Mu Yang Ling, in case you were curious. And then a lot of these decks, I did funny things with their basics because I like doing that. But yeah, next week we're going to start with Captain Rex Nebula, someone who does not go into any other decks because he does weird stuff. But we'll get into that next week. See you then.